If you've been following along and listening to season one, you know I love gardening. Whether it's flowers, herbs, veggies, I love the whole process. There's just something about putting your hands in the dirt that reminds you God is always up to something, even when you can't see it. Lately, though, life has thrown us a few unexpected storms. A few weeks ago, my husband Sam had a bit of a health scare, one of those moments that brings everything to a standstill. And I'll be honest, it scared me. It scared me, y'all. Through many doctor's visits, tests, and prayers, he's okay, but the whole thing was quite unnerving. In the middle of that, I kept hearing the phrase, bloom where you are planted. Hey, y'all. Welcome to season two of Unscripted Conversations. I'm Ashley from Simply Blessed Designs, and I am so excited you're here. Thank you. Welcome back. It means more to me than you will ever know. So, season two, I think we're going to dive deep into the soul level stuff, the real life faith that we walk out in quiet moments, in storms, in planting seasons, and in the waiting. We're starting with a message today that has been blooming in my spirit for months now. Bloom where you're planted. What does it mean to grow, even when life doesn't look the way you hoped it would? What does it look like to trust God when the soul is unfamiliar or uncomfortable? Let's talk about that a little bit today. How about that? Being planted isn't always pretty. Sometimes it feels like you're buried under the weight of expectations, to-do lists, the chaos of everyday life. As women, wives, mothers, fathers, men, creators, believers, everyone, we carry so much. There are groceries to buy, dinners to cook, homes to tend, content to post if you're a content creator, prayers to pray. And it all feels like we are constantly pouring out without even catching a breath. But every morning, I make it a point to start my day with two things: coffee in my hand and time with God in my heart. Before I scroll social media, before I speak, before I say anything, I seek Him because I know that before I can bloom, I have to be still. That quiet time, just me, God, Jesus, a journal, it reminds me that I'm not buried by my schedule. I'm being planted into something sacred, something more. Even the most ordinary moments of our day can be considered on holy ground when we invite Him into it and just talk to Him. You don't get to choose your circumstances, your timing, or your location, but God does. Just like a gardener chooses the perfect spot to plant a seed. Not too sunny, not too shaded, not too shallow, not too wet, not too dry. God places us exactly where He knows we will grow best. It may not feel ideal. Sometimes it's hard. It's real hard. The soul may be unfamiliar. Anxiety, that ring a bell? Yes, here. Okay, ADHD, stay focused. The season might not look like progress, but He sees the bigger picture. God knows what needs to take root in us before we can rise. When a plant is deeply rooted, it can withstand the storms. Storms. I think that sounds like episode 2. That I'm going to let me write that down. Its strength doesn't come from what's above the surface. It comes from the nourishment below. And that's the word. That's prayer. That's talking one on one with God. That's choosing to trust when nothing else makes sense. God is nurturing something unseen in you right now. And what feels like dirt to you is often ground God is using for growth. God uses every inch of it, every tear, every unanswered prayer, every quiet moment to dig deep roots. And when the time is right, what's been growing in secret will begin to bloom. He's not trying to bury you, He's planting you. Let's say that again. He's not trying to bury you, He's planting you for something beautiful. You don't get to choose your circumstances, your timing, or even your location, but God does. 1 Corinthians 3:7 says, "It is not important who does the planting or who does the watering. What's important is that God makes the seed grow." It's not about what we can force, it's about what we can surrender. Think about a seed. It needs the right temperature, the right amount of rain, the right soil, and even the right season to grow. But the seed doesn't get to choose any of that. You can't ask for better weather. It can't move itself into richer soil. It simply surrenders to where it's placed and it trusts the process. Trust the process. Y'all have heard that before, haven't you? Trust the process. In the same way, we often find ourselves in conditions we didn't choose, circumstances we can't control, timing we don't understand, and seasons that feel too long or too quiet. We can't control the economy, the family we were born into, the doors that close on us or the ones that open, or the timing of answered prayers. But God is still in control. God knows exactly what we need for the kind of growth He is planning. He knows how to surround us with the right people and pour out just enough grace like rain and keep us hidden until the time is right. You may feel buried right now, but trust this: you're not. You're being prepared, and your time to rise will come. Just like the seed, it has to grow deep, deep roots before it can start coming up. It's got to go down and root before it can come up and shine. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, even in the waiting, even in the dirt." Recently, my husband Sam had a health scare that totally rocked our world. One minute we were laughing over supper, and the next we were sitting in doctor's office. We didn't know what was going on. It felt like everything we planted, peace, plans, all normalcy was being pulled out by the roots. But in that storm, there was quiet, and God whispered, "You're not buried, you're planted." This season showed me how real faith is born in the dirt, not in the spotlight, not when everything's going well, but in the hidden, buried places of life. It's in the waiting rooms of doctor's office. It's in the long nights of wondering, the anxiety, and the silent prayers where faith begins to grow. Sometimes you can't see the daylight, and all you have is a mustard seed of trust. That's when you find out what your faith really is made out of. Jesus said it only takes a mustard seed to move mountains, not because of the size, but because of who it's rooted in. When everything around you feels uncertain and your heart is holding on by a thread, even the smallest whisper of, "God, I still trust you. I trust you. You are in control," is so powerful. That's dirt faith. Quiet, unseen, but mighty. Just like the mustard seed. Because faith planted in the dark will always rise towards the light. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. They will be like a tree planted by the water. Jeremiah 17:7-8. Deep roots grow in the dark, and when storms come, it's the depths of your roots that keep you standing. That's the part we don't post on social media. The tears, the journal pages, the whispered prayers in the kitchen. That's the part where faith grows strong. And let's talk about weeds, not just in the garden, but in our hearts. the fear that creeps in when things don't go as planned, the self doubt that whispers, "You're not good enough," anxiety that keeps you up at night wondering, "God, hello, did you forget me?" Weeds grow quickly and quietly. They don't need permission, they just show up. And if we're not careful, they start to choke out the beauty that God is trying to grow in us. The thing about weeds is they don't require sunlight or care. They thrive on neglect. That's why we have to be intentional about pulling them up. We do that with truth, with prayer, with community, with speaking life when life gets loud. Just like a gardener bends down, dirt on our hands, gently removing what doesn't belong, God does the same with us. He isn't mad about the weeds. He just wants to free the soil so that your soul can breathe again. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season. Sometimes you're blooming, sometimes you're waiting, sometimes you're weeding. The Lord will guide you continually, giving you water when you are dry and restoring your strength. You will be like a well watered garden, like an ever flowing spring." Isaiah 58:11. Even when your life feels like a desert, dry, weary, stretched thin, God promises to meet you there. Not with just enough to survive, but with enough to revive. He knows how to water the parts of you that feel parched. He sees when your soul is tired from waiting. He hears the silent prayers that you whisper between your responsibilities. And he doesn't just show up once and leave. He guides you continuously. That means day by day, hour by hour. You don't have to chase him down for help. He is already beside you with what you need. Even when you don't feel fruitful, God is still nurturing your roots beneath the surface. So let's take a moment to breathe, pause, and reflect. Psalm 1:3. They are like trees planted along the riverbank. They bear fruit in each season. What if this is hard place? What if this hard place is the very soil God is using to protect your next season of fruit? Pray with me. Lord, help us bloom in the places you've planted us. Even when the soil feels unfamiliar and unbearable, even when the light feels dim, anchor us in your word. Remind us that you are the gardener and nothing is wasted. We just have to give you control. Amen. You are not buried, friend. You are planted. There is a purpose in your process. God is working even now, even here. Thank you for joining me today on Unscripted Conversations. I hope this episode encouraged you. And if you did, would you share it with a friend or leave a review? Let's grow this season together. Until next time, keep showing up, keep trusting, and keep blooming where you are planted. Thanks, y'all.